Ladies and gentlemen, when the day slows down and the night begins to embrace you with silence, there comes a moment where the mind naturally shifts into another rhythm. The world outside quiets, and the noise of activity starts to fade away. In that stillness, something profound happens within you. The conscious mind, which is always engaged in planning, judging, comparing, and thinking, begins to release its tight grip. It is in this transition that you are no longer fully awake, but not yet asleep. In this delicate state, the brain waves slow down, entering into the deep waters of alpha and theta. And in these states, the gates of the subconscious begin to open. The subconscious mind is not like the conscious mind. It does not argue, it does not resist. It does not debate with you about what is possible or impossible. Instead, it absorbs. It is the fertile soil in which impressions are planted. Whatever reaches it, especially when the conscious mind is silent, begins to take root. This is why the moments before sleep are so powerful. It is a time when you have access to the deepest part of yourself, the part that shapes your beliefs, your behaviors, and ultimately your reality. Think of it like this. During the day, your conscious mind is like a guard standing at the gate of a garden, deciding what enters and what doesn't. But at night, when you are preparing to sleep, that guard grows tired and slowly steps aside. Now the garden is unprotected, wide open. Whatever thoughts, images, or emotions you carry with you at that moment walk freely into the subconscious. If you go to sleep with worry, fear, and doubt, those seeds are planted. And if you go to sleep with gratitude, vision, and peace, those seeds are planted too. The subconscious does not question. It simply accepts. This is why it becomes so essential to be aware of what you feed your mind at night. Imagine holding in your heart a vision of yourself already whole, already healed, already free. As you breathe calmly, allowing your body to soften into rest, you bring this image into focus, and you feel it with sincerity. That moment is not trivial. It is sacred, because what you send into the subconscious at night will continue to work long after you have fallen asleep. The body, always listening to the mind, responds to these new impressions. When you understand this, you begin to realize that the time before sleep is not to be wasted on random thoughts or unresolved frustrations. It is a doorway into the unseen realm where your inner world is shaped. And if you choose with awareness, you can send through this doorway the most powerful impressions of healing, strength, and transformation. Night after night, you return to this practice, and slowly, without even realizing it, the seeds planted begin to grow. They take form in your emotions, in your behaviors, in your health, and in your life. Every night before falling asleep, there is a choice, even if it does not always feel like one. Most people carry the burdens of the day into the night. They replay conversations, relive disappointments, worry about tomorrow, or judge themselves for what has not been done. In this way, they unconsciously carry stress, fear, and doubt into the most powerful state of the mind. These emotions become the last impressions that sink into the subconscious before the body drifts into rest. And yet, it does not need to be this way. In those final moments before sleep, one has the ability to decide what kind of energy is planted inside. If you imagine the mind as fertile soil, then what you feed it before sleep becomes the seed for what grows tomorrow. If fear is planted, fear grows. If doubt is planted, doubt grows. But if gratitude, peace, and healing are planted, then the subconscious works throughout the night to make those qualities real within you. It does not distinguish between what is repeated with worry and what is envisioned with love. It only knows the signal it has been given. This is why the quality of your last thoughts before sleep matters so much. They do not disappear into darkness. They continue to echo in the inner chamber of your being. The beauty is that choosing new seeds is simple. Instead of allowing the mind to wander toward the unfinished or the unwanted, you can direct it toward the state you wish to create. You can bring to mind a picture of yourself already whole, already free of the burdens that weigh you down. You can imagine waking in the morning with energy, clarity, and strength. More important than the picture itself is the feeling. When you allow yourself to feel gratitude for this vision, as if it is already true, the subconscious receives the message more deeply than any words could express. This practice transforms the night into a sacred ritual. The bed becomes more than a place of sleep. It becomes a temple for inner change. Instead of carrying the chaos of the day into your dreams, you carry an intention, a gentle but powerful command that guides your inner world while the body rests. And the subconscious, always open, always listening, begins to weave those impressions into the patterns of your mind and body. Over time, this choice before sleep creates a different rhythm of life. You no longer wake up heavy with the same burdens you carried yesterday. You rise lighter, clearer, with more strength to face the day. It is not because the world outside has changed, but because the world inside has been given a new pattern. The simple act of choosing what to plant before sleep becomes a profound act of freedom. The body is never separate from the mind. Every thought, every feeling, every image you hold within carries a signal, and the body is constantly listening to that signal. When the mind is filled with fear, the body tightens. When the mind is weighed down by worry, the heart rate quickens, the breath becomes shallow, and stress hormones flood the system. In the same way, when the mind is peaceful, the body loosens, the breath flows more naturally, and the chemistry of relaxation begins to spread. The connection is immediate and undeniable. The subconscious does not wait until tomorrow. It responds in this very moment. This is where the power of imagination and intention becomes so important. The subconscious does not ask whether what you imagine is happening in the outside world. It simply reacts to the pictures and feelings you give it. If you close your eyes and see yourself healed, if you feel the joy of being whole, if you truly embrace the sense of freedom and strength that comes with that vision, then the subconscious accepts it as truth. It does not differentiate between what has already happened and what is being created in your inner world. For it, both are real. Consider how this works. When someone recalls a painful memory, their body often responds as if the event were happening again. Muscles tighten, emotions rise, sometimes even tears flow. In the same way, when you hold in your heart the vision of healing and peace, the body receives it as though it is already here. Cells begin to shift, chemistry begins to change, and the whole system moves toward alignment with that vision. This is not wishful thinking. It is the direct influence of mind over body. Each night, as you prepare for sleep, you hold in your hands the power to send a new signal. If you allow the old patterns of fear and limitation to dominate, the body continues to live in that state. But if you choose to send the signal of health, freedom, and joy, the body responds differently. Slowly but steadily, it begins to mirror the state you envision. The subconscious does not argue. It simply follows the instruction you give it again and again. The more consistently you choose this signal, the more the body learns a new rhythm. It starts to expect peace instead of stress, strength instead of weakness, healing instead of illness. Over time, the boundary between imagination and reality dissolves, and what began as a vision becomes your lived experience. The body, shaped by the messages of the mind, transforms into the reflection of the state you have rehearsed within. This is why your inner work is not only mental, it is physical. Each thought is a seed planted in the body. Each feeling is a command that shapes its chemistry. By choosing to hold the signal of healing and freedom, you give your body the chance to become what your heart already knows is possible. Healing is often thought of as something mysterious, something that arrives by chance or as a gift from outside. But when you look closely, you see that healing is nothing other than the body returning to its natural order. The body already carries the wisdom to repair itself, to balance what is out of rhythm, to renew what is worn out. Every cell is designed to regenerate. Every system is designed to restore harmony. What determines how well and how quickly this happens is the environment in which the body exists. And that environment is profoundly shaped by the signals coming from the mind. When the mind is filled with fear, stress, or doubt, the body receives instructions that create imbalance. The nervous system stays on high alert. The chemistry of stress dominates, and the natural processes of repair are slowed down. It is as if the body is constantly preparing for danger, with no energy left for growth or renewal. But when the mind shifts to a state of calm, hope, and gratitude, the body receives a different signal. Stress hormones subside, the nervous system relaxes, and the immune system awakens to do what it knows best, to heal. What many people call miracles are often the results of this shift. They imagine a healing that happens suddenly and without explanation, but beneath the surface it is simply the body responding to a new message. Biology changes when the mind changes. Hormones begin to balance themselves, inflammation decreases, cells repair more effectively, and the immune system becomes more intelligent. These processes are not extraordinary, they are natural. What makes them appear extraordinary is that so many people live for years sending signals of stress and fear into their bodies, leaving little chance for the natural rhythm of healing to work. When you recognize this truth, healing stops being a matter of luck and begins to be a matter of choice. Not a choice in the sense of controlling every outcome, but a choice in how you prepare the ground. Each night before sleep, when the subconscious opens wide, you are able to send new messages into the body. Instead of reinforcing the old state of imbalance, you can offer an image of wholeness. Instead of fueling stress, you can nurture gratitude. The body listens, it responds in kind, and the more consistently you give it these instructions, the more quickly it can find its natural way back to balance. Healing, then, is not something outside of you waiting to arrive. It is within you waiting to be awakened. It is the normal state of a body that is aligned with the mind's clear and harmonious signals. And when night after night you choose to offer your subconscious visions of peace and wholeness, you are not creating a miracle. You are allowing the most natural process of life to unfold. Gratitude is one of the most powerful states a human being can enter. It is not just an emotion, but a vibration that aligns the whole being with openness and receptivity. When you feel genuine gratitude, the heart softens, the breath deepens, and the mind becomes still. In that moment, you are no longer in resistance to life, you are in acceptance. And when the subconscious receives a message wrapped in gratitude, it does not question, it does not resist. It simply absorbs it with a deeper intensity. Think of how the body responds when you are sincerely grateful. The chemistry shifts immediately. Stress hormones decline, and the body produces chemicals that enhance repair and growth. The immune system is strengthened, the nervous system relaxes, and the inner balance is restored. Gratitude is not just a pleasant feeling. It is a signal, a clear command that tells the body it is safe to grow, safe to heal, safe to restore. And when you pair gratitude with a vision of the future you want to create, you amplify its power. You make the subconscious believe that what you are feeling has already happened. This is the secret. The subconscious does not distinguish between what has already unfolded in the physical world and what you feel deeply in the inner world. If you can feel gratitude for a healing that has not yet taken place, the subconscious accepts it as though it is already real. And once that impression takes root, the body begins to shift to match it. You are no longer waiting for the future to arrive. You are living in it internally. The outer world eventually has no choice but to follow, but this requires sincerity. It is not enough to repeat words of gratitude mechanically. The feeling must rise from the heart. Even if the mind doubts, the heart knows how to give thanks for what is unseen. Each night before sleep, when you bring to mind the image of yourself whole and healed, allow the heart to overflow with gratitude. Do not wait for the body to change before you feel thankful. Feel thankful now, as though it is already complete. This is how you teach the subconscious a new reality. Over time, this practice becomes a new way of being. Instead of going to sleep carrying the weight of fear and uncertainty, you go to sleep in a state of appreciation. Night after night, you condition your inner world to expect good, to welcome healing, to embrace transformation. Gratitude becomes the language you use to communicate with the subconscious, and it is a language the subconscious understands perfectly. When gratitude and vision walk together, they create a force that is unstoppable. They dissolve the old patterns of limitation and invite in the reality of healing and freedom. And the more you live in gratitude, the faster the body and mind harmonize with the future you have already begun to create within. Each night brings with it a doorway, a chance to step beyond the limits of the day that has passed and enter the possibility of something entirely new. The practice of night meditation is not only about relaxation or calming the mind before sleep. It is about consciously directing the power of the subconscious to build a new reality. The day is often filled with distractions, demands, and noise, but in the stillness of night, the mind becomes more open, more receptive, more willing to listen. It is in this space that true transformation begins. When you close your eyes and intentionally guide your thoughts, you are not simply imagining, you are instructing the deepest part of yourself. The subconscious is like the soil, and what you plant before sleep continues to grow while you rest. If you place into it the seeds of health, strength, peace, and joy, then those qualities begin to take shape in your life. Over time, the outer world begins to mirror the inner reality you have consistently rehearsed each night. Healing faster is not about pushing or forcing the body. It is about aligning it with the inner vision of wholeness. The subconscious works in the background, regulating processes you are not even aware of. It influences the heartbeat, the immune system, the repair of cells, the balance of hormones. When you enter night meditation with clarity and intention, you are giving instructions to all of these systems, guiding them to restore balance in harmony with your chosen vision. The beauty of this practice lies in its simplicity. There is no need for elaborate rituals. All that is required is awareness and sincerity. Before you drift into sleep, you release the weight of the day and replace it with the image of the life you wish to live. You breathe into it, feel it as though it already exists, and allow gratitude to flow as if it has already been given. In this way, you train the subconscious to accept a new reality. At first, the changes may seem small. A lighter mood, a calmer morning, a deeper sense of peace. But over time, the repetition of this nightly practice reshapes the very foundation of your being. You begin to notice that your body responds differently, that challenges affect you less, that healing happens more naturally. This is not because the world outside has shifted overnight, but because the world inside has been renewed. The subconscious no longer carries the heavy patterns of limitation. It carries the patterns of possibility. Night meditation becomes a bridge between who you have been and who you are becoming. Each evening you step onto that bridge, you walk a little further into the future you desire. And as you continue, the line between inner vision and outer reality fades. What began as imagination becomes life. What began as a seed becomes a tree. And what began as a simple practice before sleep becomes the doorway to a new way of living, healed, whole, and aligned with the deepest truth of who you are.